His journey through breast cancer is unique, and this terrible disease touches everyone very differently. It's not easy, but when a survivor speaks up and shares their story, it can actually have a positive impact and encourage others battling breast cancer to keep going and stay strong, and also inspire others to take charge of their health. Hi, everyone. I'm Olga Villaverde, your host for today's discussion, a very important discussion, and we're coming to you live from the Baptist Health Newsroom. We have with us today three amazing women, courageous breast cancer warriors who are going to share their personal stories. I'd like to welcome first Aliette Arner. Great to see you, Aliette.
Good to see you, Olga. Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks for being here, darling. Noga Nietsen, happy to have you, Nora.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Even better now that we're together. And finally, Wanda Jenkins, who is going to share an amazing soundbite, but that's going to be a tease. Wanda, we're not going to say it. Yes. Pleasure to have you.
Hi, likewise. Thank you for having me.
Now, thanks for being here. So before we dive into today's subject, I want to remind our viewers to send in your questions and comments throughout the segment. We are here to answer them for you, answer any questions you may have. So Aliette, I'm going to start with you, because your story is everybody's story is special, but you come from a long line of breast cancer survivors. Tell me about that and how it affected you when you heard your diagnosis.
Well, I'm not going to lie. When I first found out that it was cancer, I think I gave myself about 5 minutes to cry. And then just mostly thinking about my kids, at that moment. And then after I went through those little emotions, I got myself together and I was like, how are you going to get rid of this? How is this going to get out of my body? And I remind myself, the key word is I came from a long line of survivors. So I knew I could beat it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And from that long line of survivors, is it because you saw them go through it, you lived it next to them, and then it maybe armed you to become a warrior?
Absolutely. I saw my mom. I was there with her step by step, my grandmother's sister. It's been, definitely a long journey. And I knew that I could do it. I'm strong. I'm a faithful woman. And I knew I had this.
And look at you striking that pose in those pictures. You look fantastic. Beautiful family as well. Noga, I have to bring you in now because you and I have already met, and I'm so honored to even know you and call you my friend. You work in the medical field. So you're a breast health technician. You see this every single day. You know what it is to look, see cancer, and have to possibly speak to the patient. And then one day, you became the patient. How difficult was that?
It was very difficult because as much I'm seeing this every day, I know what to tell the patient when this happens. I didn't know what to tell myself. So it was very, very hard. First thing was, how do I tell my family? How do I make it easy for them? How do I look positive? Should I smile? I didn't want to cry because, of course, you cry. That's when they know there's something wrong. So I was very, very positive. Inside me, of course, I was scared. But I have seen many, many patients, and I still see them. So that makes me happy. And I see that there's a solution. We can get our breast treated, and, here I am. And my family was the great support. I could find my co-workers and stay positive. It was the main thing.
And Noga, let me follow up, because one would think that because you were around this and you are around this every single day, you would think, okay, well, she's better prepared to deal with it. But I don't think that's the case, because once you get the news, you go, what? Me?
Yep. We are never prepared for this news. I think that even a mechanic with the car breaks, something happened, he's not prepared to be in the middle of the turnpike without a car. So that was my case. I'm a mammotech, but at this point, I have to trust, put my hands into someone else, and just keep my track in everything and hold as many hands that I was possible to do.
Thank you so much. Wanda. I just love Wanda because she taught me a soundbite that I want everyone out there to always remember. And she's been spreading this all month long. And if I know Wanda, she's probably doing it all year long. But if you don't go, then you
Yeah.
won't know.
That's right. That's correct.
That's huge.
Huge, huge.
And
That's
it's
the
huge because
first-
I read here you didn't feel a lump, you didn't feel anything. So it's
No.
not as if you were doing something and said, wait, there's something here. But if you don't go, you won't know.
You don't know. That's right. That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And, I've been faithful about getting my mammogram since I turned 40, because, that's the age that they give you. So I've been going, every year since. And then, of course, on the drive home one day, you get the phone call and she thought I was home, the doctor, but I wasn't home. And she asked me to pull over. And, those words are like, are you sitting down or pull over? That means something. So, she gave me the magical word. It's a possibility, she said, that you might have cancer. And then I got complete silence for a moment. And then she gave her speech, how she's going to be here with me. They're going to be here with me all the way, Baptist Health and the crew. And she did that. And then she said, asked me if I had anything to say. And I said, I don't know what to say. I just didn't know what to say at that moment. She told me to get home safe. And then, of course, I cried all the way home.
So let's
Yep.
talk about that coping, because once you hear the news, and obviously some of us take it differently. Obviously, Aliyah said she cried for 5 minutes. Obviously, everyone cries. And then all of a sudden, the strong woman comes out and says, all right, let's get to work. Let's beat this. I want to ask all of you this question. There's rounds of treatment. There's lots of tests, physically, mentally, emotionally,
Mhm.
spiritually, just all those things are weighing down. How were you able to cope with that? And Wanda, let me start with you.
Well, one thing I did after I cried all the way home, I said, you know what, I got to get myself together. So I ended up calling my best friend, and she knew right away something was wrong because she could tell in my voice that something was wrong. And then I couldn't say anything. So I just started crying again. And she was like, well, you want me and my mom to come over? Because she was with her mom at the time. So I said yes. And then they ended up coming over and then had another crying battle. And I told them what was happening. And they were like, don't worry, we got you. We're going to get through this together. So that's how I ended up coping with it with my best friend, my family, my sisters, which I have 5 sisters, but I only tell one sister because, you want to ease the pain of everybody and you want to make it easy for everybody because you don't want to upset everybody. So that's how I ended up coping with it.
Aliyah, let me bring you in. How did you just cope with just the news, the treatments, and everything that you had to endure?
I think I just kept my eye on the prize, and the prize was to be cancer-free. I knew that was my ultimate goal. I told my kids, I'm like, this, your mom is not going to die from. I'm going to fight it to the end and I'm going to beat this. So I think that really had a lot to do with it. An attitude, I had a sense of humor about it. The time that first Halloween, I was bald. Halloween's a big deal here in my house because it's my son and my husband's birthday. I dressed up like Uncle Fester.
Mine.
You got to enjoy those things. And, you have to just keep yourself going. I would still put makeup on. I jazz myself up with earrings every day. And you look good, you feel good. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very important. Noga, how about you?
Positive, very positive, 100%. There were some changes that, like, my face was a little swollen. So I will tell everyone, oh, I look like a cute little panda, but I love it. So it was just very positive. And I was going through this stuff and treatments while I was still working. I took like 2 months off, but then I was back at work. So I had to be positive for me, for my patients. I don't tell every patient, just if I need to go that close to the patient, I tell them my story, I'll share the story, because they see me that person that will never reach to cancer. I'm like the person that find it, but that will never touch me. So I try to stay positive, 100% positive. I'm at work right now, and this is me. This is just me here.
And you are fabulous. Let's talk about resources, because many times a lot of people don't realize just how much is out there to help women go through this, even families as well, caretakers, everyone. So I maybe want to ask all of you, and if you did not use resources, that's fine. But did the resources help with recovery, with just treatment? And let me start with, actually, Wanda, let me ask you.
I like how I did use resources, by the way. I
Mhm.
like how Baptist Healthcare gave you, I call it a bag of inspiration. And in that bag was a bunch of meditations and different exercises and just a bunch of different things that you can turn to when you were in that moment, whatever it was. So I like how I had those resources, and I was able to refer to those resources, and it helped me a lot because a lot of it was meditation. And like Etta said, you believe in your faith, and I'm a strong person of my faith. So the meditations help me get through everything.
And there you go again with another soundbite. Baptist gave you a bag of inspiration. I just
Yep.
love that one. Let me ask Aliette, did you use resources? Would you offer that to others and say, do it? Because a lot of people say, I'll just deal with this by myself, or I'll deal with it with just my best friend. But I just think when you have more, you're armed with just more positive energy.
Right.
I think I did it all. Everything that
You
my
did.
offered, I went for it. I did, you name it, physical therapy. I did acupuncture, nutritionist. I did there was like a gym membership that they helped you out. I mean, it was amazing. It helped with my reputation. I just felt the support and love from everyone that worked there, and everyone had a vested interest in making me feel better, look better, and just keep pushing through to get myself back to what I would say the old me. This version 2,
Right.
but as close to the old me as possible. So yes, definitely. I used everything that they had to offer.
And you had told me earlier that, you wanted to look good. You put on your makeup, you zhuzhed yourself up, you did exercise. I think that's vital to go out there and just keep going and doing that exercise, even if it just means walking.
Right.
Right, Aliette?
Absolutely. I mean, it was all just a group effort, and I'm so grateful for everything that Baptist had to offer.
Wanda, did you use, I'm sorry, not Wanda, I'm sorry. Noga, did you use that bag of inspiration?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah, because one of the things that worry me the most is that I work with my hands. These hands are everything here. So I was very scared about the lymph nodes, that I was going to have any swelling problems. So I really did. I started lymphatic treatment, and it was kind of cool because it was very relaxing. It helped me a lot. At any moment of all the whole treatment, I had swelling or anything, and it helps me a lot to be able to move my arms. So I was happy about that. I also went to acupuncture because I have a little bit of migraines. So the migraines, just for thinking, they get a little bit bad. So, I took advantage of everything, and I said, I need to enjoy this. This is a time to enjoy. I'm a very lucky girl because I love doing mammograms. So I get to know what happens from beginning to end. And that's what I'm here for. Work here at Baptist. So Mammotech, anyone that needs the mammogram, I'm here for you.
I'm telling you, the next time I go get my mammogram, I'm going to go see you, because you're going to be, I'm always so scared when I go, and I'm like sweating, and it's this pressure, but people like you just kind of help just bring about that peace, which is so important. You have to have faith.
Yeah. Yes. And like I told you before, my room is full of butterflies.
Oh, that's right.
And you will love all the butterflies, all the colors.
I love it. All right. Before we continue, I do want to hear from a very special doctor. Her name is Dr. Gladys Giron. She's a breast surgery specialist at Miami Cancer Institute. Listen to this.
Aliette presented for her first appointment. It was her first encounter with Miami Cancer Institute. She presented with a stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, or the most common type of breast cancer that we see. She was extremely positive from the minute she walked in the door. That's something that I remember about her, and I told her every time I saw her. I think that she probably stands out as potentially the most positive patient that I've ever taken care of.
Aliette, that was obviously your doctor, Dr. Giron, and beautiful words, just absolutely beautiful words. And I actually want to talk to all three of you about this, but Aliette, I'm going to start with you. What does it mean to have a doctor say that, and just that relationship, obviously, that you had with her, and that positive outlook throughout the process?
I think that was key. I trusted my team wholeheartedly. They are the GOATs, the greatest of all time over there. And was not one moment that I would question their thought process or their treatment plan. I knew that it was who I needed to see, where I had to be. And that just leads to your attitude, their positive attitude. We can't say that enough. You know, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. And I stayed positive because I knew I had the greatest, the best working on me. So.
Can you imagine saying that about a doctor, having him or her, and they are the goats? I mean, that is fantastic. Wanda, did you have a goat?
I sure did. I had a goat. She was such a goat that she went back to her hometown because they wanted her back. And she moved back to her hometown to take care of the people there. So yes, I did. And just like Elliot said, when the team leads by example, meaning they're positive, they're there for you, they're helping you, they're letting you know they're going to be there for you 100%, that speaks volume because you're already scared. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. I mean, you're relying on your faith, but you know, we're still human. And when you got goats, it is what it is.
That's right. And it's so important, Noga. Tell me about your goat. And I'm going to even say all of you are goats, but Noga, you're a goat now because I was just told by my producer that you are also part of the Bag of Inspiration. So you're becoming a goat.
I love that. Thanks. Well, of course I did. And since I'm working on the field, I will say that everyone was. And I can tell you now that now you two are more than my friends too, because we went through this together. But patients did a big impact in me. They were there helping me. So in my case, I'm just a mammogram. So it was the opposite. The patients were the ones that give me that peace, because I was able to live this with a lot of patients. And when this happened, I was able to reach to some of my patients and have communication with patients that they became friends. My ultrasound tech, when I told her, is it real? It's a real. I needed a mammogram. It was positive. So I told her, is this real? And she held my hand and she told me, yes, but we're going to get through this. This is something that it doesn't need to be there. It will be taken out. We'll continue. And a doctor told me once, this is just a bump in the road. Do this, girl. You can do it.
Wanda, she talked about a bump in the road, and it's a big bump, but like she said, you can get through it. And I think sharing these stories, I just think they're so impactful to inspire those that are going through this and even those that are not, because this is everyone's story, because everyone knows someone that's had breast cancer, a loved one, a friend, someone, and sharing stories helps.
It does. Yes, it does. And I'm happy that I got the opportunity, and I say finally, to finally do this, because, you know, in our culture, you know, it's like an embarrassing thing. So you don't really want to tell a lot of people, or anybody for that matter, because you don't know where that road's going to lead, and you don't know if they're going to tell the story correctly. So for me, it's been 9 years, and I'm so happy and grateful to say that. You know, most people, when they see the story, they think it's like recent, but it's an even better story because it's 9 years ago and I'm still surviving and I'm still pushing and I'm still talking to people, telling my story and sharing with them the bag of inspirations and letting them know that you will and you can get through this as long as you got some goats.
That's right. That's right.
You stay positive. I mean, we talked about positivity, we talked about your faith, and you just need all of those things to go along with what you're going through.
9 years. Congratulations. That is absolutely wonderful. Aliette, how many years, if I may ask, and what tips would you offer those that maybe are enduring this right now? They just started the bump in the road.
Well, I was diagnosed in the middle of the pandemic, June of 2020. I'm about a year wrapped up from everything.
Okay.
And I would say my biggest tip is don't wait past your time. You know, early detection is key. So if you're scheduled for your mammogram, go get it done. I had a breast MRI done February 2019, and it was clear. And fortunately, you know, or unfortunately, you could say, I had to wait because of the pandemic to get my next screening. So it was 4 months late. And in 4 months, I had 2 spots on my breast. I had it in my lymph nodes. So it was quite a shock. So go get those mammograms on time.
Right.
Noga, that message is so important. And I've said this before, and I truly mean it, because a lot of people say, yeah, I'm going to get it. And one of my best friends, since Aliette talked about 2 years ago, the pandemic, she did not get one for 2 years. The pandemic, the children were at home. Everybody was just trying to figure out what was going on. And 2 years after the fact, she was just diagnosed. So she's going to be fine too. She's at Miami Cancer Institute. But Noga, you're there every day. Talk about the importance of just getting that mammogram. Yes, it's not comfortable. Yes, it hurts. And when you have small ones like me, it really hurts because you can't even get in there. It's like, oh my gosh, but do it.
Well, I can give you the good news. The paddles that's a top secret. Paddles have changed a little bit. They upgrade in the machine. It's a little bit faster. So this helps a lot for the pain. When you say you're going to tell me, oh, I have pain, it's over. So it's done. So it's very important. And there's something that I want to share. I get a lot of older patients that they tell me, oh, I'm not going to see you next year. And I'm like, why? Oh, because I'm 65. I say, that's not old. No. My mother, she always tells me, you always have to take care of yourself. And what I tell the patients now is 70s are the new 50s. So there's no way you're going to stop. Because if you treat this on time, this is something small, you pull it out of the breast, it's gone. What you want is that this doesn't go to the rest of your body, because once it goes to the rest of the body, then that's where the problem. So you want to do your mammogram. I always tell them, you come until you want to see me. I have a beautiful room here. You can go to all the Baptists. You're going to have the same treatment and you're going to be fine. It will just take 1 hour or less than that. And from here, you can go to Dayland or any shopping or take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Noga, I know we've talked about this before, but let's set the record on the guidelines again, because a lot of people ask and sometimes they change. So what are the guidelines today? If you have no family history, what is the age to go get a mammogram?
If you don't have no family history and you've been doing your breast self-exams and everything feels fine to you, you should start at 40 years old.
Perfect.
There's a family history. If you feel something in the breast, you can always check your doctor and start before that. Younger than 34, it's better always to start with an ultrasound. And depending on those results, the radiology will decide if the patient needs a mammogram or not.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody heard that. And then I'm going to take it one step further, because that's me, Olguita. When you have dense breast, and I have, I think it's called fibrocystic, I think.
Fibrocystic.
There we go. I'm getting older, so I'm forgetting things now. So I've been told I need to get an ultrasound. And I want everyone out there, Noga, to understand why the ultrasound does not replace the mammogram.
Okay, perfect. So I love to tell everyone this. A fatty breast and a dense breast. Dense is when it's very fibrocystic breast. Fatty breast is when it's a shiny, sunny day. You can see the skies. Everything looks right there. And then dense breast is a very cloudy day that there's a lot of clouds. So what happens? You cannot see the skies. A lot of patients said, but they found the breast cancer on their ultrasound. Well, that patient had a mammogram before. And the importance of having this mammogram is because if there are calcifications in the breast, that it could be a change in your breast, they're going to be seen on their mammogram. So first, baseline, you need to have your mammogram. And from there, the radiology will decide if you need a breast ultrasound or not.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping everybody got that, because it's so important. I know we lost Wanda, but hopefully we'll get her back, because we're winding down our fabulous conversation. Ladies, I do have a question from a viewer that I want to get to real quick, and then I want final thoughts, because I always think final thoughts are important. Is there a family history of breast cancer? I know, Aliette, you have a family history, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We did not test positive. Anybody test positive for BRCA gene, but there is a long line of family history.
Perfect. And Noga, this viewer wants to know as well, if you don't mind.
Well, in my case, we have a family history of colon cancer. So I was always checking that since I was young. When this happened, it was in the middle of the pandemic, but 6 months before, one of my cousins, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So in the same year, in 6 months apart, it has been two family members, me and my cousin, that we were
Okay.
diagnosed, and BRCA negative. There's no genes
Okay,
in our family for breast cancer.
perfect. And Wanda, we got you back. Thank goodness. We were
Yes.
just answering a viewer question about family history and any BRCA. Could you tell us if you had family history and the BRCA gene?
No, I did not, but I did get the BRCA testing. So I did not have no family history at all, none.
And you did test positive for the BRCA?
No, I did not.
Oh, you did not. Okay,
No, I
perfect.
didn't.
Thank you so much. All right,
Mhm.
ladies, I always think it's important to get everyone's thoughts at the end, especially because you've been through so much. Any takeaways? And something I want to know is, what is one thing you would have wanted or you wished you knew before the treatment? And let me start with Wanda.
Well, going back to growing up, there's a lot of things that you learn, especially as far as your faith, that like you hear it, but you don't really understand it until you get older and wiser. So the one thing that I wish I would have known was, I don't know, that's a hard question. I guess I could say how easy it was going to be because I depended on my faith. If I didn't allow that to step into the picture, then it probably wouldn't have been as easy for me. So
Beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Wanda. I appreciate that. Noga?
Since I've been in this for so long, and this is my job, I will say that I was prepared, but the only thing that I wasn't prepared, it was to be a patient. And I wanted to tell you this, Olga, because for the first time, I became a patient and I feel like a patient. And it gave me the opportunity to cry and enjoy being a patient. So when everything started for me, it was like where I'm gonna be in 1 year. And I'm here and I love it. And this is like the perfect example of having a mammogram, because it was from 1 year to another. So I became a patient. I love it. For the first time, I had the support, but all of you gave me the opportunity to realize that I'm also a patient. When I see my posters everywhere here at work, I say, wow, that's me. I'm a patient. I never thought that I was a patient. I was a mammotech, so I gotta be strong for everyone. So thank you.
No, thank you, Noga. Thank you so much. Aliette.
I think I'm going to piggyback on what Wanda said. It was a lot easier than what I probably thought or had anticipated. And I mean, I went through it all. I went through chemo, radiation, double mastectomy. So that part, you just got to lean in on your faith. You got to trust your support group, your doctors. The most difficult part, the part that kind of shocked me is the after part, trying to watch my hair grow. I loved being bald, but seeing myself have to kind of conform to all these new hairstyles and things like that. Maybe I could have used a little bit more coaching on the aftermath, but that's the part that I struggle.
it is.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I'm so honored to have had you today. I'm always just blown away at just the courage and the openness and the faith. And God bless you all. Thank you so much for what you do and how you speak up. It takes a lot. I know it does. And you're very special. Very.
Thank you for having me.
So before I lose you guys, we're going to do, you know what? It just hit me, because when it hits me, my producer goes, oh my gosh, what is she going to do? So we're going to use Wanda's soundbite. If you don't know, you won't go. All of us together in 3, 2, 1.
If you don't go,
No.
no.
Ladies, thank you so much for sharing your personal stories, and God bless you. Hope to see you soon.
Likewise.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, remember you can connect with us on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Check out our resource blog for the latest at baptisthealth.net/news. You'll find a link there to all the episodes of Baptist Health Talk podcast as well. And on behalf of everyone here at Baptist Health, stay safe, stay healthy, and we thank you so much for watching. You take care.